The following is a lesser-known but powerful account of the martyrdom of Joseph Smith, given by William M. Daniels, who witnessed the massacre from outside Carthage jail. Several others like myself followed out of curiosity without being armed. Carthage lay directly on my route home. Soon the jail was surrounded by the mob. They had blackened themselves with wet powder while they were in the woods, which gave them the horrible appearance of demons. Colonel Williams shouted out, "Rush in! There's no danger, boys. All is right." A rush was made in the door. This let them into the hall, or entry, from which they ascended a flight of stairs, at the head of which, turning to the right, they reached the door that led to the prisoner's room. The mob fired a ball through the panel of the door, which entered Hiram's head at the left side of his nose. He fell, exclaiming, "I am a dead man." His death was sudden and without pain. Thus fell Hiram Smith, the patriarch of the Church of God, a martyr for his holy religion. A few hours previous to this, a friend to General Joseph Smith put in his possession a revolving pistol with 6 chambers, usually called a pepper box. With this in his hand, he took a position by the wall at the left of the door. Joseph reached his pistol through the door, which was pushed a little ajar, and fired 3 of the barrels. The rest missed fire. He wounded 3 of the assailants, 2 mortally, one of whom, as he rushed down out of the door, was asked if he was badly hurt. He replied, "Yes, my arm is all shot to pieces by old Joe. But I don't care. I've got revenge. I shot Hiram." What must have been the feelings of General Smith at this critical juncture? His brother, whose life he had been so anxious to preserve, lay a corpse before him, and his assailants were filling the door with muskets and firing showers of lead into the room. General Smith, seeing there was no safety in the room, and probably thinking it might save the lives of others if he could escape from the room, turned calmly from the door and dropped his pistol. He sprang into the window, but just as he was preparing to descend, he saw such an array of bayonets below that he caught the window casing, where he hung by his hands and feet, with his head to the north, feet to the south, and his body swinging downwards. He hung in that position 3 or 4 minutes, during which time he exclaimed 2 or 3 times, "O Lord, my God!" and fell to the ground. While he was hanging in that position, Colonel Williams hallooed, "Shoot him! God damn him, shoot him! Shoot the damned rascal!" However, none fired at him. He seemed to fall easy. He struck partly on his right shoulder and back, his neck and head reaching the ground a little before his feet. He rolled instantly on his face. From this position he was taken by a young man, who sprang to him from the other side of the fence, who held a pewter knife in his hand, was barefoot and bareheaded, having on no coat, with his pants rolled above his knees, and shirt-sleeves above his elbows. He set President Smith against the south side of the well curb that was situated a few feet from the jail. While doing this, the savage muttered out loud, "This is old Joe. I know him. I know you, old Joe. Damn you." After President Smith had fallen, I saw Elder Willard Richards come to the window and look out upon the horrid scene that spread itself below him. I could not help noticing the striking contrast in the countenance of President Smith and the horrid, demon-like appearance of his murderers. The former was calm and tranquil, while the mob were filled with excitement and agitation. When President Smith had been set against the curb and began to recover from the effects of the fall, Colonel Williams ordered 4 men to shoot him. Accordingly, 4 men took an eastern direction, about 8 feet from the curb, Colonel Williams standing partly at the rear, and made ready to execute the order. While they were making preparations, and the muskets were raised to their faces, President Smith's eyes rested upon them with a calm and quiet resignation. He betrayed no agitated feelings, and the expression upon his countenance seemed to betoken his inly prayer to be, "O Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." The fire was simultaneous. His death was instantaneous and tranquil. He betrayed no appearance of pain. His noble form exhibited all the powers of manly strength and healthful agility, yet not a muscle seemed to move with pain, and there was no distortion of his features. His death was peaceful as the falling to sleep of an infant. No cloud of contending passion gathered upon his brow, and no malediction trembled on his lip. The reward of a righteous man seemed hovering over him, and his breath ceased with as much ease and gentleness as if eternity was exerting its influence in his behalf and taking his spirit home to a world of liberty, light, and life. The ruffian of whom I have spoken, who set him against the well-curb, now secured a bowie knife for the purpose of severing his head from his body. He raised the knife and was in the attitude of striking when a light so sudden and powerful burst from the heavens upon the bloody scene, passing its vivid chain between Joseph and his murderers, that they were struck with terrified awe and filled with consternation. This light, in its appearance and potency, baffles all powers of description. The arm of the ruffian that held the knife fell powerless. The muskets of the four who fired fell to the ground, and they all stood like marble statues, not having power to move a single limb of their bodies. By this time most of the men had fled in great disorder. I never saw so frightened a set of men before. Colonel Williams saw the light, and was also badly frightened. The storm had passed away. The cowardly demons had fled, and I stood a spectator, gazing on the scene. There lay Joseph Smith, the martyred leader of thousands who revered him. The man who had passed like a magic spirit through society, and in a career of a few years had lit up the world with wonder, astonishment, and admiration, was left dead upon the ground. He lay full low, yet, in my contemplations, I regarded him as the triumphant conqueror left master of the bloody field. 84 men, armed with United States muskets and other weapons, had the unparalleled heroism to murder him while a prisoner, while he had the nerve and presence of mind to contend with such unequal force, and with a pocket pistol kill and wound as many as they. In him was the spirit of dauntless bravery exemplified. But a few days before, his noble figure rode at the head of a mighty legion, numbering 5,000 brave hearts and 10,000 strong arms. His presence gave them courage, his words animated their hearts and nerved their limbs, and the large heart that beat within his manly breast entwined around it their love and affection, by the generosity and nobility of its principles. In this situation he had the power to defend himself. How insignificant was the power of this contemptible mob in comparison with this force that could have borne him off triumphant in defiance of all their resistance. From this position of power he descended, threw down the sword that could have protected him from the menace of mobs, and trusted himself to the honor and fidelity of men and the boasted majesty of American justice. He that would have died for the maintenance of his honor fell a sacrifice to the broken faith of other men. The murder took place at 15 minutes past 5 o'clock p.m., June 27th, 1844.